Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I'm gonna continue with my iPhone 10 capture business. Basically, I would like to be able to easily transfer like face animation one from the recorded face with all the blend shape values, like you can see here, and transfer it into another 3D head like this one. I'm using Eric Newman head. It's actually I think it's 3D assets that's available on Sketchfab. Um, I want to transfer that, but like you already know, if you're doing like a face rigging, um, there is no standard on like a face blend shape or shape keys. They are often named quite sometimes quite randomly, and people name it differently. But it's kind of interesting to think about it. You can see here, there's like a naming system that's probably it came from Apple, or it's I think it's from FaceCap developer. He made all the blend shapes. I think there are over 50 blend shapes or shape keys from this character that I recorded using the iPhone 10. And then with this character, Eric Newman character, the blend shape is all named differently. And if I'm using other tools like Bastioni Lab character generator, it's also created differently. But definitely, it's trying to accomplish the same thing, kind of to give a face that can give you as much expressions as possible. Like this one is actually pretty good. Yeah, there's a bit of glitch there, but anyway, the idea is I want to be able to transfer all this data to this guy. And how did I do this? Um, First of all, I'll probably gonna show you the one I have here already. I accomplished this using animation nodes, and just now you can see a glitching because I already have animations on this Eric Newman character, and I'm just gonna delete it. This is the animation, clear animation, so I don't have the animation anymore, but the character is still kind of animating, following this the face capture, right? It's actually pretty good. This is after I spent maybe over 1 hour uh, trying to set this up. I try using drivers, but drivers can work, and you can also use Python scripting. But anyhow, you still need to do some kind of manual filtering. The first thing that I do actually to get a list of all the blend shapes from this character, and then also get all the list of the blend shapes or the shape keys for this character. And I accomplished that by actually using Sverchok. Yeah, it's really weird, but this is how I work. I grab the shape keys key block data and then simply dump it here. If I show it to you using the stethoscope, it's gonna be clear. So with Sverchok, you can actually do this. Get the list of all shape keys, the name of shape keys, and also you can get all the values if you want. For for this, the value is actually just gonna be a pass on. So I'm using animation nodes for that. This is the animation node setup. So a lot of nodes, and it's growing depending on the character, how complicated this character is. If it has all the blend shapes, it's nice. You just need to connect them, maybe using Python script or even just using nodes. Um, but anyhow, with the blend shape list collected, you can start kind of grouping the blend shapes, kind of like logically grouping it. Maybe the mouth area, and then the lips area, and then there's a mouth roll, etc. This is all the blend shapes that's kind of generic on the iPhone 10. So the Apple created this kind of standard for the face blend shapes. There's brows, of course, cheek, jaw, eyeballs. This is really cool actually. The eyeballs, the the fact that the eyeballs for the iPhone 10 really track your eyeballs like really precisely. It's amazing. This 8 values is for the eyeballs, and then of course eye blink, squint, eye white. It's all important. So I group it. Same thing with the Eric Newman face. I also group it, and then once I do that, I can kind of make the connections much more easily. And I'm still doing this manually at the moment. You can see here. Okay, so basically, object input is our head, and this guy, we're gonna get the value of the shape keys. This is how I did it. Simply just accessing the data.shapekeys.keyblocks, the name of the shape keys. You can access the shape keys by name or by the index number. By name, it seems to be easier. If the character have a matching list of shape keys, you can just maybe copy paste the animation or something. Yeah, and then once I get that value, I can just transfer it into the other head. So this is the other head, and you can see this is actually object attribute output node, and this is object attribute output. So input, data in, and data out. It's basically so simple. It's a really simple concept. You just basically connect the dots, right? But sometimes connecting 50 shape keys is kind of a hassle. If the list is actually matching, and you can just use Python script for that. And would be nice if Blender have something like some kind of Python BPY functions. Imagine if you have like function that simply connect attribute of maybe head source to head target and whatever, just extra data. Maybe I think someone made similar thing. I think Tilowski is one of Blender developer, create something similar, basically to connect the drivers. But yeah, I found that currently I think using animation nodes is a lot easier. I don't know, there must be a script, Blender script out there, or some kind of workflow that can simply copy the head. Maybe Blender actions can do it. But of course, if the shape keys is named differently and then they have different number of shape keys, it will not work right away. So anyhow, long talk, I will give you a quick demo. Basically, I think a lot about Blender drivers and animations copy paste. It's not always very clear, even for long time Blender users, because I learned Blender like most of you. I learned Blender by myself. It's like self-taught, and then I learned from everyone online. So I have the recording. So I recorded 5-second face capture, and I convert it into binary, and then this is the result. It's just my face saying Blender is awesome. So let's import this very quickly. So this is the 3D head. So it says Blender is awesome. Okay, so this is the recording. It's very simple. I'm gonna save it as head awesome. The app is, remember, the app is called face capture, and 5 seconds of animations is 120 frames. So it's captured at 24 frames per second. The iPhone 10 actually can capture, I think, 60 frames per second. So, but 24 is kind of nice for film. Yeah, so we have this animation, right? And then this character have all the shape keys, all the blend shapes, all the data here. And you want to transfer this into a character. I will create like not even a character, it's just the default cube, and it should, maybe I'll make it kind of morphing into larger self, and then also this one will kind of grow up, this, and I'll hit spacebar and then join as shapes. I can delete the shapes. So now we have some kind of simple blend shape keys, whatever. So yeah, with this character, right, if you want to connect any value from here, these guys have animations. We can always copy paste the animations, but I don't like doing that because copy paste is creating new data. If this guy's animation is changing, you need to copy paste again. It's better to use drivers. Blender drivers is interesting, I think, and there is a already workflow. If you want to quickly copy animation from this guy's transformations, for example, you just right click, add drivers, and you can use this match indices or single or etc. There's already tools to do that. The quick way, of course, this is kind of like a drag and drop. This is like you need to some kind of this is become like eyedroppers if you want to link something very quickly. And the way to do it is that you select, for example, you select the source data, and then you pin this panel, and you select this object. You right click here and then add driver match indices. That's for the locations, and then I'll do the same thing for the rotations, and that guy is now connected. We don't need the drivers for the locations, but see the rotations. The rotation of the cube is now following the head. That's actually one connection problem solved. How about the shape keys, right? What if I just want to connect this value, one of this value? How do I do that? Currently, I found that if I'm using the pinning thing, sometimes there's an issue. Okay, this one actually works. Oh, actually no, it doesn't quite work. See the pinning? There's a slight bugs in Blender. If you do the pinning while the shape keys is on, it disappears. You cannot just, that's mean you cannot just use the eyedroppers. So with that issue, the way I do it is I'm just like right click on this guy and then add driver, right? And then just click it on itself. So I'm really controlling the driver using itself. It's gonna give an error. But look at here. This is the cool part. If you go to the drivers itself, this is how driver works in Blender. It's interesting the way it works. If you've been using Maya or Houdini, especially Maya, drivers is really Maya stuff. Houdini even better, but now doing it in Blender, it's interesting, really interesting, because you kind of have it here, but it's just you need to dig down and then go to the drivers. You can still see here. So this guy cube.002 shape keys now is being controlled by itself, which is wrong, right? You need to control it using this guy, which is maybe, what is this guy? What's the name of the key? It says key. Okay, that's the name of the shape keys, like the shape keys group. So this should be key, and the value should be, well, let's pick a Joe. Did this character blink? Yeah, this character blink. So blink using the right eyes. So maybe I can find blink. I blink right. Okay, I'm gonna copy that value. I'm gonna paste it here. That's the name of the shape keys. It's really quite logical. And now the right eye blink will control the shape keys of this guy. It is really that easy. And it's kind of manual, right? It's still kind of manual, but this is kind of one workflow that kind of worked for me. But if you want to do it kind of more streamlined, I think the animation nodes workflow is probably better. I'm using Joe Open. This character, oh yeah, when he say Blender is awesome, yeah, awesome, it's actually using the Joe, of course. Joe Open is also here, Joe Open. See? that works, right? And the next thing you want, if you can keep it like this or bake the keyframe, whatever. But let's go back and just grab this animation node setup. I want to show you this because this is kind of very useful. Copy, that's the object attribute input and object attribute output. So back to this guy, file save as. So I like the drivers, but I want to do it much easier. So delete driver. I'm switching to node editor, animation nodes, paste. So we have this, of course. Okay, we have the head. This is the original source data, and we have our, what is this guy, cube. Okay, key not found. Okay, of course we need this guy, cube data, cube 002, copy paste, and cube 001. Value has wrong type. Of course, it is expecting float data, you know, this and this. Okay, so that's easy. Nodes make it everything much easier because it's visual. So with this guy, the head, we can get the jaw open, and this guy eye blink, right eye blink. Eye blink, right. Okay, just connect the dots. There you go. It's a lot easier. Of course, don't forget about Blender drivers. Blender driver is really cool and it's built in Blender. This one is using animation nodes. It's an add-on, but I think don't be afraid of add-on like animation nodes or spread chalk. I think it's really powerful for now. When Blender evolved more from 2.8, when it's got like node frameworks underneath, it's gonna be really powerful. Okay, what I was doing while talking is that I'm using this multiplier for the data, and so this guy is now kind of going over 1, if I'm not wrong. Actually, yeah, the value is multiplied by this value. So that's very cool. So you can see it works. And to make it more streamlined, of course, use object input. And this guy, you know, like this is for the head, for example, and let me stop that. And this is for this guy. And this is how I do it for every shape keys. So of course we have 50 of them, but if the name is different, if the list of shape keys between the source and targets are different, you still need to do manual works anyway. It would be nice to have some kind of a better naming system. You know, it will, like, for example, find all the matching shape keys for mouth, eye, etc., jaw. Maybe this one is named like differently, like open jaw. You know, that's also gonna break the setup. So I found it's quite interesting anyhow, like to transfer animation data. Yeah, so that's my talk about Blender drivers and how I think the node system underneath can really make it easier, much easier. If you ever need to change like any connections, you just copy paste the name. So of course this is an add-on, like I said, animation nodes add-on, and yeah, but it's really powerful, I think. So until Blender I think if you have any better ways, please let me know, because I want to easily connect my face animation recording into different character. This is how I do it, but if you know better ways that doesn't involve nodes, let me know. So yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.